I'm Rob Matheson in Doha, the top story on Al Jazeera. We've got breaking news in Afghanistan. Buildings have been destroyed in a deadly 5.9 earthquake, which has rocked the southeast of the country in the early hours of Wednesday morning. It happened about 44 kilometers from the city of Khost near Paktika province. 250 people are said to have been injured. The quake could be felt in neighboring Pakistan and Iran. Well, journalist Ali Latifi is live for us from Kabul. What more do we know about what's been happening, Ali?
So as you said, it was an early morning quake, and people as far as Kabul had felt the aftershocks. They had felt the impact of it. And in Paktika and Khost, because it took place in the districts, places that are harder to reach, places that haven't seen a lot of development, the devastation has been immense. As you said, hundreds injured, hundreds possibly killed. We're seeing reports of hundreds of houses destroyed. The government is trying to send helicopters to aid people. But, the issue is that the aid economy here has been devastated. Afghanistan has always suffered from floods, from landslides, from earthquakes. But getting aid to people in need has always been extremely difficult, even at a time when billions of dollars was in the country and so many foreign aid agencies were here. Now they're trying to rely as much on local aid agencies, but those are the ones that have felt the greatest impact from the sanctions, from the cutbacks, from the pullouts, from all of those things. They will really struggle to deal with this issue until international aid agencies can pump in money, can pump in more support, because at the moment they're really undersourced and underfunded.
Yeah, we're just seeing some pictures as you're talking, Ali, of the aftermath of that, and there's some of the rescue efforts. Tell us about the housing and the building there. You said that this is an area which is prone to earthquakes. Are people able to protect their homes?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, people, build with what materials they have. So you could have mud houses, you could have brick houses, and obviously the poorer you are, the more, simple materials you use to build your house. I was saying earlier that in 2015 there was a big earthquake in Kabul, and many high-rises had huge gashes on the sides, because even in the city of Kabul, even these expensive high-rises were not built according to code. And then so when you're talking about farther out in the villages, unfortunately people don't always have the income, they don't always have the resources and the ability to build proper housing. And then so that's why you see at least 100 houses, if not more, have already been destroyed.
Tell us about the government response to this, because it has happened, as you say, in the early hours of the morning when people are sleeping. How quickly has the government been able to get some sort of aid there, given the fact that you were saying that the aid budgets are limited?
Right. And this is going to be a major issue for them coming up. Now, they have said that they have sent helicopters and they are sending constant updates. But as you well know, responding to these sorts of natural disasters takes a lot of coordination and it takes a lot of practice. This is one of the really first big natural disasters that the Islamic Emirate will be responding to. So this will be a big show of how much they can sort of, organize things on the fly and what they can do with the resources that are available to them at the moment. Because as we said earlier, they're asking for more help to go to local aid agencies, but local aid agencies are the ones that have been the most affected by, sort of these aid cutbacks, by these sanctions, and by the very tight regulations the UN has placed on how they distribute aid and who they distribute them to.
As often the case when we have situations like this, the number of dead and injured does vary very dramatically in the first few hours.
Right.
What is the latest that you're hearing from there? Just briefly, if you could, because we are running out of time.
It could be sure. We're hearing it could be as high as 255 dead and hundreds up to 500 injured so far. And that's increased from about 90 in the morning to now nearly 300, in the late morning.
Ali, thank you very much indeed. That's Ali Latifi talking to us from Kabul about the story there.